Welcome into the Sports Objective, a very special night as we have two great guests. We have first, we're going to be talking to Dave Ryan of CBS College Sports. I don't know when he's getting some sleep, but we'll find out. This time of year, when you say March Madness, that's the life of Dave Ryan. We'll be talking to him in just a matter of minutes. And the second half hour, one of our good friends we think a lot of from East Carolina, Ryan Robinson, who is in the athletic department and like the right-hand man, if you will, for the sports there at East Carolina. He'll be talking a lot of stuff, including very excited about the season tickets are way up. Over 5,000 season tickets are being sold already early on, and they're looking to get Rowdy Dowdy back for Dowdy-Ficklen Stadium, a guy that knows about Dowdy-Ficklen and a lot of venues across the country. Dave Ryan, how are you, man?
Doing well, Dave. How are you tonight? Everything, March is here. Are you ready? Do you feel the March Madness? I know we're in the COVID era, but I still feel like we're there now. We needed to get to March, and now we can think about what really matters: championship week and the big dance.
My life is always madness, so the fact that I have an excuse now, it's probably normal. Yeah, normal right now. Very excited, by the way. I told you before the show that we've made it to 3 years as of yesterday.
Congratulations!
So thanks to all the fans
awesome. And congratulations!
Very excited about that. I think it's episode 447. We made it. It's been a tough road, but appreciate you being on here tonight as we celebrate. And we're going to celebrate now with basketball. Man, we're so excited about college basketball. And Dave, we were talking pre-show, getting ready for the interview here. Just the fact that I think we have basketball is an absolute miracle with all it's been even rough. We knew it was going to be a tough road, but I don't think we knew how much of a tough road it was going to be with all the cancellations, postponements, pushing the games back. Okay, we're not playing. I've been telling people COVID has made our world and sports instead of a pencil, it's a pen world before. Now it's a pencil world because we're penciling in last minute ad here of a one-off game with this team when you thought that you had the whole schedule laid out. And the older we get, we don't like change, but boy, we're having more and more change as we speak.
Ain't that the truth? Yeah, it comes with age, Dave. You're right about that. I'll be honest with you, David. Going back to college football, and we talked a few months ago on your show, and congrats on the anniversary. It's awesome news about what we could expect with COVID in college football. And it was incredibly disruptive, but the season did happen. A national champion, Alabama, was crowned. NFL got through somehow 16 regular season games, the playoffs, and the Super Bowl. I believe that the NCAA tournament will, being in the Indy area, and you've been there, I'm sure, where Purdue, West Lafayette's 45 minutes, Bloomington, IU's 45 to an hour, IUPUI, Butler, you're all right there. It's a good idea to keep it Indy-centric, home of the NCAA anyway. So I love the bubble they're creating. Conference tournaments, I don't know what's going to happen. There are a lot of schools, a lot of teams, a lot of leagues where the schools are not medically cleared to play yet. And these events are happening within the next week or so. So that is something that's a big concern. We do a lot of Atlantic 10 on CBS Sports Network. Did UMass St. Louis last night. St. Louis hammered them on senior night in front of no fans, which was just bizarre. So the Atlantic 10 is going to have two venues, Richmond, the Siegel Center, where VCU plays, Robin Center, where Richmond plays. And then they'll get to the semis, wait a week, and then go to Dayton to play the championship game. One game on March 14th to try to give those two teams the best possible chance to stay healthy. I mean, there are just so many changes and adjustments, Dave. And I've got my fingers crossed. Can't see my toes. Got my toes crossed that we can get through all these games through the NIT and the NCAA tournament without a hitch. Is it going to happen? I don't think so. I'm really hoping, though, because this is the time of the year we all wait for. And these games mean so much. It's so fun to cover these games and talk to coaches, and who knows, maybe the announcers get to actually go to the game and be there in person.
We normally talk about March Madness because of buzzer beaters and these small schools you've never heard of winning, like Maryland Shore did against Virginia a couple years ago, and that big shit that
UMBC, that's right, UMBC,
awesome. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And the fact that it's a 16 seed finally beating a number one seed, that was March Madness. Now the March Madness is off the court, my friend, as we're warning about COVID tests, and will this team be able to, and then having the teams like I was telling you pre-show about having a handful of teams that they're going to be like an airport when you have people that are on standby to go on the airplane. Those teams are going to be on standby whether they're going to play or not. 4 6 teams. I don't know how many teams they're going to have doing that, but that's crazy. Plus, on the flip side, you could have a team that's been playing well all season long, and they have the unfortunate luck of the draw of getting COVID at the very end of the season. And going back to your point of the conference tournaments, do you think there'll be? I know the ACC has it where you can't opt out. Are there some leagues that you know about around the country where you can opt out, where they maybe some of these schools say, hey, we're not going to play in the conference tournament because we want to wait. That'll give us an extra week for the national tournament.
Which is really what the A10 did, Dave, to present that extra week. And finishing up with that league, and we cover a lot of those guys, as I mentioned. It's interesting that they created the week in between for safety and to try to make sure those two teams were healthy for the championship game. They also created a window for more games. Now, they are not making up the games that were postponed or canceled within the A10 schedule. But they're also not prohibiting the teams that aren't in the championship. Even if they are in the championship game, they could, in theory, schedule a game or two in the week between the semis and the finals. So I think you may see a lot of that. I have not heard of any opt-outs as of today, and Friday was the deadline for schools, conferences to either declare a regular season champion at that point or commit to playing the conference tournament. Now, Gonzaga, which beat Loyola Marymount the other night by 100, whatever it was, 24-0, unbelievable team, great non-conference wins early, not tested at all in WCC, not even close. Look bored to me. I watched them 5 or 6 times. Like, these guys, they're bored. They thought about not playing in the conference tournament, but they're going to. Yes, it's a big risk, Dave. Let's face it. It's a risk to play in your own conference tournament, especially for Gonzaga, which is without question the number 1 overall seed. What if they go to Vegas and get sick?
Well, I was going to ask.
I mean, unfortunately, I hate to say it because I want to see every game played. I want to see Pepperdine upset Gonzaga or BYU in that tournament. But you're risking a lot by playing in it. I mean, who would have thought we'd have this discussion a year ago? Even a year ago when the tournament everything got wiped out from about this point on, right? March 12th, in that range.
Right.
We thought, okay, it'll be a 1-year thing, and by next season we'll be back to where we should be, but we're not.
No, that's an interesting point that you make about I was just using generic teams that if this team has COVID, do you think if it's one on that top line, Gonzaga, Baylor, I know lost their first one recently, but do you think one of those teams of Michigan, I mean, one of those top 4 teams, is that possibility they could say, we're going to push that game back a couple of days, or they're going to say, hey, I know that you only have 7 players or 8 players or have a certain amount, but you have 8, and then, hey, you got some walk-ons, so you're just going to have to play the game that way?
Each league has its own rules, regulations based on the amount of available, healthy scholarship players. Generally speaking, it's 7.
Right.
Got to have 7 to compete. Less than 7, you can't play. I think it's a great question. The tournaments that go right up to Selection Sunday, then what are you going to do? Are you going to delay Selection Sunday to when? Yeah, because the first 4 starts a couple days later. I mean, it's just I'm so glad it's happening. I'm also really glad I'm not involved in the decision-making process when it comes to the selection committee, because I think with so many non-conference and conference games wiped off the map due to COVID, that the selection committee this year is going to have its hardest job in college basketball tournament history.
Yeah.
It's hard anyway for that committee to go in the room and think about which schools deserve it and which don't. So many league games have been wiped out. So the power conferences, to me, Dave, have a huge advantage because they play such tough competition. So if you think about Big Ten, ACC, Big East, Big 12, Pac-12, SEC, I mean, the Big Ten's putting, 8, 9, 10 teams in anyway with the year they've had?
Yeah.
But that level of competition is so high, something in mid-majors, like I love San Diego State. I love St. Bonaventure in the A10, but they didn't play the same level of conference games. So you always think about non-conference being so important in the net ranking, tier 1, tier 2 wins. Now, to me, it's all about conference play. The best conferences are going to be the best when it comes to the NCAA tournament. I think they've got a huge advantage. People are saying Loyola's great. Yeah. Drake has had a great year. Yes. Gonzaga, again, it's a top seed. Yes. Those teams, Missouri Valley, Atlantic 10, it's a good league. Mountain West, not the same as the SEC or even the Big 12 or the Pac 12. Not even close to the Big 10, Dave. So to me, those power conferences this year, it is a big flex of the muscle in power. Even more so. It's exaggerated because of the fact that they're playing such tough competition in the league games they did get in.
Yeah, and normally it would kind of work itself out, but this year it's probably going to be even worse when, and then the fact that you could even make an argument that there could be a Cinderella team, a Gonzaga, maybe they don't have enough players or something happens that we don't even foresee as we're talking tonight on Tuesday, March 2nd. We have no idea. That's what makes it great. But I think that the basketball fan of me is scared. But if you're talking about the announcer of a show, and something for you for being a play-by-play guy, and someone who is in the business, that it really gives us more to talk about, right? I mean, this is something that may never happen again, and we can you and I, we can talk about. We were doing a show in March of 21. Can you believe that happened years down the line? Looking back, we can say that was the craziest thing. It should have never happened, but it did.
Well, if you think, Dave, back a year ago, so I was in D.C. and covering the Colonial. Hofstra beat Northeastern in the championship game on CBS Sportsnet, and I was about to get in a plane and go to Cleveland for the MAC. The MAC quarterfinals were the next day, semifinals, which we did on Sportsnet, a championship on ESPN. So I was preparing for a doubleheader, and it's a league we had seen all year. Steve Wolf and I do a ton of those games. And we got to the quarterfinals, and at that point, most conferences were pulling out. Ivy was gone. Big Ten was about to. Big East was in the middle of a game. They stopped. I mean, it was a ripple effect. So you think about where we were a year ago and how incredible that was to see the entire NCAA tournament canceled. You would never imagine that. Well, now, a year later, yes, it's awesome. It's going to happen. But I'm with you. I'm a little scared based on who's going to have to pull out, who can't play. Is there a pool of teams that they can pull back in? I mean, I think logistically it is going to be incredibly challenging to try to get through this thing unscathed. And I'm worried because the Super Bowl was amazing. The NFL playoffs were amazing, as we talked about. I felt that even without a crowd at those games, it was a legitimate, fair contest in all those games in terms of COVID and testing and player availability. Well, it might not be the same in college basketball if your top two scorers can't play. I mean, it's not injury. It's so new and so different. It is going to be challenging to get through this thing. I really hope it works out.
Me too. I think the word that has come up a lot for me over the last few days thinking about this tournament season is fascinating. I think it's going to be fascinating to see what happens with it's great to have guys like you that we know, and then what's fun is we root for you guys as like announcers because we see there's Dave Ryan, our friend, and he's doing this tournament, and then we see all friends like throughout the different leagues, and then people that we don't know that we look up and to admire and respect. And then like last year was so surreal. Our two friends, Jeff Charles, voice of the Pirates, and Cy Seymour, they do the radio broadcast, and they were sending us pictures. And I mean, it was amazing, so surreal to be in Fort Worth, and you see that nice, beautiful arena, and there's nobody there. And then they're telling us, hey, we've got to get on a plane. And it was like the only thing I can equate it to is maybe like I hate to use a term because not to like exaggerate, but like a terrorist attack, like something like that would happen that, hey, we can't play the game.
It felt that way. There was a shockwave around the college basketball world for sure. And because the NCAA tournament is such a huge deal and looked at, it's almost like the Super Bowl. I mean, it's similar in terms of at least the Final Four. To see it all wiped out like that was not tragic, of course, in terms of loss of life like 9/11 or COVID, but tragic in the sports world in its own way, for sure. I agree with that. It's hard to believe. It's interesting, Dave, because we had Colonial had its Zoom today with all the coaches, so all 10 coaches came on, And I think of the 10, maybe 7 said rhythm. We're trying to get a rhythm. And he didn't mean, coaches didn't mean on the court. It was off the court. It was togetherness. It was chemistry. I mean, it's going to be hard, I think, for any conference to be for these teams to be 100%. And I'm not just talking about physically, but I think the mental aspect, mental health of these student athletes has been really tested this year.
And that's for example, that's what I was telling folks. Look, we look forward to this. We look forward to doing our show. We look forward to covering East Carolina sports in general. But you know what? There's other things in sports, right? What we're upset is we're hurt for is two things. We're hurt for the athletes, the coaches that put in so much time, and also all the freelancers that we know that come on the show. That's how they eat. Is they do a whole bunch of different games. They're doing radio, television. They're doing streaming on ESPN Plus or whatever, streaming or social media outlet, and that's how they make their living. And then all of a sudden, you go from having an industry to I have a friend of mine who's a travel agent, so she's booking Disney and cruises, and then all of a sudden there's another industry, that I'm very close to because of that. So all kinds of different things that we could go on and on about, but how do you feel about as far as the tournament? Do you have an idea of do you have a Final Four in mind? One that you want to pencil in right now?
Well, I always, Dave, I've always loved the underdog, and I think it's going to be interesting this year because of so many factors. There's no regional home team. There's no regional home court advantage. Crowds will be limited, which they should be because of COVID. So I think all of the usual factors when you look at the NCAA tournament and the top seeds and advancing are skewed this year. They're much different. Michigan seems light years ahead of anyone right now to me. They are playing out of their minds. I love Iowa, Luka Garza. I love Illinois. They're playing well. Ohio State really playing well. That league loaded would not even be the correct Wisconsin description of the Big Ten. That's easy. Now I'm going to go to my Mount West roots here, Dave, a little bit. San Diego State has got some payback in mind from last year. Remember Malachi Flynn, player of the year, defensive player of the year in that league, undefeated almost the whole season. Lost late at home to UNLV, lost to Utah State in the championship game in Vegas, and we never knew what happened, of course. I mean, really deserving, definitely of a 2 seed, probably a 1 seed with the year they had. They got Jordan Shackle back. They got Matt Mitchell back. Great shooters, great leaders, really good coach in Brian Dutcher. Good league. Boise State, Colorado State, Utah State, San Diego State. Could get 4 in. Watch for San Diego State. There's a dark horse for you. All right. Sweet 16 good in my opinion. St. Bonaventure, A-10. Again, these are teams we know because we cover them. Really good. Well coached, Mark Schmidt. Good big men. First ever number 1 seed in the A-10 tournament in school history.
Wow.
So there are a couple for you that might make a run. Loyola, of course, out of Chicago has had an amazing year. Drake's been really good out of the Valley. So there are, a few teams. Look at the net in Colgate. I'm not sure how the net works with that exactly because of their schedule, but they're top 15 in the net. I would love to see, this could be the year, Dave, where you have a couple of Cinderellas making a nice run. And I would being a broadcaster, we do mostly mid-major and some high major ball with the Big East. I would love to see those teams get in because to me it's such a it's weighed against them so heavily to begin with based on power rankings and all the analytics that go into the NCAA tournament selection now because of the power conferences and where they are. But I'm going to go back to my point earlier, Dave. I think in the end you're going to have probably four power teams in based on how tournament ready they are. And then the seedings, of course. But how you can't put Michigan in right now, I don't know, man. They are – Livers is unbelievable. That team is loaded and really, really well coached. You think about how athletic they are and well coached they are. That's a team that's going to make a big run. Is it Gonzaga's year? Great question. I mean, they're awesome. They are absolutely awesome. Jalen Suggs, pro for sure. They got probably 3 pros in that team. but not tested at all in the West Coast Conference. So interesting. I think it's going to be an interesting tournament. That's what, to me, is the most fascinating part, that you're going to see scores. You're like, what is that? That can't be accurate. Did I misread it? Because there are going to be some shockers. But I'm going to go with Michigan to win it all.
Okay. We were getting ready to have the executive associate AD for external relations, Ryan Robinson, who's a graduate of Kentucky, the Wildcats. And I know that with a lot of the blue bloods, will there be a chance, like a blue blood like Kentucky, that maybe the SEC tournament, and maybe they get some, maybe they all of a sudden they just really turn it around and they can win it all?
No, but I'll tell you, I don't think it's. I'm a Syracuse grad, as you know, and they beat North Carolina last night, which is nice to get that win. I probably Cuse will get in because the ACC is so good at large, even if they don't make noise in the ACC tournament. Nate Oates, coach of Alabama, that is a really good team.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about them.
Florida State is really good. Florida State leads the ACC in scoring and field goal percentage defense. So you're doing it both ends of the court. That's it. Those are a couple schools right there. We covered a lot of Nate Oates at Buffalo. They dominated the MAC for 5 straight years when he was there, following what Bobby Hurley had done. A lot of dominance, shoot threes, run, defend, athletic. They rebound like crazy, and they get great bench play. So I think Alabama's got a lot going for it. And that's not a shock because they're a top 10 team this week. But hey, year 2 for Nate Oates. That guy's really a great coach.
No question. And before we let you go, we wanted to let fans know where that you can find your work. You've got, do you like sleep at all? Because you've got all these different tournaments and you're talking about right there near you. Now that we live in this Zoom world where we're broadcasting here.
It's a busy week for sure. So we've got on Facebook Watch, we'll have Conference USA. So it's Middle Tennessee, FAU, Thursday, Friday. And then the CAA tournament starts Saturday. So I'll be zipping right up to DC and then driving to Harrisonburg. I've never been to JMU, looking forward to that. And then calling all the games with the first 2 days with Mac McCarthy, our friend and coach. I've never worked with Mac. And then another legendary former coach, Pete Gillen, will be my guy on CBS Sportsnet for the semis and championship of the Colonial. And then I'm going to come home and probably sleep for a while.
For a couple hours.
It'll be the PBA World Series of Bowling. I don't know how many of your listeners and viewers are bowling fans, but I'm also a bowling host. So the next week I'll be in Tampa working for Fox Sports doing bowling.
Hey, I love it. One of these days I'll get a 300, maybe. Perfect game. That'll be great.
It won't be for me, Dave. I'm the worst bowler literally on the planet, but I like to talk about it.
I do too. Well, Dave, how people following you on social media? I'll let you get out of here.
So it's at Dave Rhino 12 is so Dave DRYNO 12 is Twitter, and then Dave Ryan TV is Instagram, and I'm out there on Facebook, and you can find me a lot of tweets, mostly Twitter stuff from me, keeping you updated on what's going on. And I tell you, Dave, going to a game in person, going to the Colonial and being in the arena in Harrisonburg, their brand new gym, I can't wait to see it. We might be in the top row. I don't know where we are. It doesn't matter. We'll be in the building and not doing game off a monitor. I can't wait to actually have the feel of the game live in front of me for the first time all basketball season. It's going to be great.
Maybe Bob Uecker seats, but it'll be fantastic. Dave Ryan of CBS Sports Network. Thank you so much. Appreciate you so much, buddy. Dave. And
congrats on the anniversary of the show.
Thanks for the
good work, guys.
Thanks, man.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Appreciate you. Enjoy. All right, that's Dave Ryan of CBS Sports. Good night, Dave. And we'll bring in now Bubba is now producing and obviously hosting with me now. Let's bring in Ryan Robbins, the Executive Associate AD for External Relations. How are you, man?
Man, I'm good. How you guys doing? I'm sitting here at the office watching our women's basketball having a really rough night right now against Tulane on ESPN Plus, and been out at the jungle today just kind of working on baseball allocations and basketball, the return of basketball this week. So I would say this has been probably one of the busier times in the last 2 or 3 years, to be quite honest with you.
Well,
The baseball
we're
ticket
so-
allocations are one of the hot topics. But before we dive into that, Ryan, since you were talking a little hoops, and I know you were talking women's basketball, but with the men scheduled to play UCF 9 o'clock on Thursday night, and then also Sunday against Cincinnati, just talk about the ticket situation there. Earlier this afternoon, I was hearing in the ballpark of 1,000, with a lot of those being, pushed the direction of the students.
Yeah, Bubba, and we knew we only had 2 more home games remaining. And, our students are unbelievable. I mean, first of all, just as you go through all this process, the last thing you want to do as an administrator is tell people they can't come to your venues. I mean, it's awful. This has been an awful situation, awful process. But I thought Chancellor Mitchell always says it when he says, the enemy is the virus. Obviously we want packed arenas. And so we went through it with basketball. We felt like it's the first time we were really going to kind of allow people in the facilities again, when you're talking more than a couple hundred. So felt like it was really important to try to get a big crowd for students. It's Thursday night, nationally televised on ESPNU, playing UCF. And then we also go through our priority list in terms of Pirate Club, and we'll have some people there as well, but not as many. And kind of do the same thing for Sunday. We're not charging for those tickets right now. With 2 games remaining, we decided that we weren't going to charge. We might do something later in the week where we have some tickets available for Sunday, but really want to get our students involved, man. I mean, I don't know where you all went to school. I went to school at the University of Kentucky, and man, that's part of the student experience. Being able to go to these venues, man, root on your team. And I can't wait to kind of feel that energy inside Minges. And I really do. I hope our students respond. I think we're going to have probably up to about 800 tickets that we can, and we've went through it, social distance, there'll be rows skipped. So we're trying to do it safe, but I'm excited for our guys, man. It has been a rough month for our men's basketball program. This virus is crazy. If you remember, we haven't played since I believe February 6th. So don't know what to expect.
Some days.
Yeah, and don't know what to expect, but I just know our guys are going to be looking forward to just being out there competing again. That's why they come here. So, but yeah, Bubba, so we'll do that for those 2 games, and then kind of have our focus on baseball and really spend a lot of time at our other venues, and we can get into that. But, we're open a little bit, but I mean, people have to understand, 15 and 30%, that's still not a ton of people.
Well, Ryan, I wanted to talk about that very thing of basketball. For the record, I did graduate at East Carolina, believe it or not.
I knew you were at
in
East Carolina.
1995.
Who's the head coach?
What's that?
Who's the head basketball?
Back then would have been, let's see, we had Eddie Payne leave, and it'll be Dooley, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Dooley. Dooley's first time. Yeah. So the venue was basically, that was growing pains for my senior year, because that's when the transformation of Minges was taking place to Williams Arena. So we're very excited to have that. And to have students around that lower bowl last year, when you had that great idea of having the fans in the lower bowl when the students weren't there, that was created pre-COVID, if you will. Bubba and myself and his dad and mom, we were all sitting down there in that Charlotte game, and that's one of the best atmospheres we've had in a long time. So to do that for the students, I think, is an excellent idea, and I think that'll be great and a great atmosphere. People are hungry for games, man.
Yeah, and I think you make a good point, Dave. John Gilbert and I, man, we spend so much time thinking about different things we can do and getting people involved. I think with Minges, if you look at it now, we've gotten a ton of compliments. I'm not bragging on, our department, but we've gotten a ton of compliments from around the country about the way we've dressed up Minges this year. Just if you see the ECU Pirates, and there is something about that because when you roll those bleachers out and they're not full, it's not a great look on television. So when we made that decision, it was, obviously we got to be better, win more games, people are going to come, but we're still looking at that lower bowl area, making sure that you get the students, but also people like you that want to bring your families, can you have access to that lower level, man, right on the court? For basketball, our courtside seats, they sold out last year. I mean, I think we had 115 courtside seats, and every one of them sold out. So we're looking at Minges about being some creative ways that we can make sure we have people in those lower areas at all times. But right now during the pandemic, it's hard to plan too much. But those are conversations we're having.
Ryan, since you brought up the aesthetics of Minges, specifically with the lower bowl covering up those gray pull-out seats, something else that looks excellent in Minges, and I know this has been done prior to this season, but with East Carolina and then the purple and the, I guess, dark gray, just the contrast in the upper arena looks so much better than just the solid gray like it was when you guys arrived to town.
Yeah, branding's been important, Bubba. I mean, we've tried to make sure that, I talk to people around the country, my peers, and they're like, man, you all are so lucky. You got such a great logo, the purple and gold. So you'll probably see some new stuff that people haven't seen in the arena in some of the corners, and we're continuing to look at that. But, yeah, I mean, the bleachers are part of it. You'd love to, hey, we're going to do chairback seats all the way around. Well, there's an expense to that. But I do think you can be creative in some of the end zones, with some like risers and kind of have some VIP seats, and maybe have a little concession in there. App State has done a good job in that area. I don't know if any of y'all have been to their basketball game, but they've kind of done some stuff in their end zones that's pretty unique. So, man, we look at everything. I spend more time just, looking at what people are doing and seeing if we can do it better.
Let's talk about one thing I want to talk about is baseball. I know that a lot of people were very proud of our Pirates, and Cliff Godwin's done a tremendous job. And there's a lot of other sports. We're very proud of you guys, of what the job y'all are doing, because all of a sudden it's like John and Ryan come to town and all the teams are starting to win now. So it's never been a better time to be a Pirate. But as far as baseball is concerned, a top 25 program, very happy what Cliff's doing. And I know that it's 1,200 seats, tickets that can be sold.
Yeah, and that's kind of, you have to look at, first of all, you're right. Cliff is amazing, and I wish some people could be in like our head coaches meetings and some of the meetings we have. Cliff's a Pirate, man. I've learned a lot from him just about his passion and what it means. He loves ECU. He's going to do what's right by ECU, and I think you just see that with him every day. I was at baseball practice today, and you just see his passion. But really, when you look at 1,200 seats, I think everybody needs to realize you're starting with 1,200. That includes, 150 in the jungle. Well, it also includes, you probably knock off 130 for ECU student athletes, coaches, and guests. You're probably knocking off another 50 or 60 for visiting team. And then we've kind of cut, our partnership with IMG Learfield. They're usually getting up to 140, 150 tickets, which are important because they're part of our sponsorship agreements. We're cutting those in half to like 50. So really, when you get down to it, you're looking at about 850, 900 tickets. So it's not as much as, when you look at 1,200. But here's what I'll tell you that's been the toughest thing about baseball. We have people that have seat rights. They bought those seat rights however many years ago. And just unfortunately, everybody can't sit in their regular seats, or we can't social distance. You have to move people out of their regular seats so we can social distance. And I'll tell you, Dave, it's awful. I mean, it's the worst thing I've ever had to be a part of, because, that'd be like telling Dave Richmond, hey, at football, you can't come. You cannot come to football. Well, that's not what you want to hear. So we've had some great conversations. Have some people been angry? Absolutely. And I get it. I feel for them. We're hoping that number will increase, but you also have to look at it. Let's say that number goes to 40 or 50%. Well, if it increases, you've got to relax the social distance guidelines. I mean, you can't just go to 50% and still have 6 feet between There's no way. So we're at a number that we can get, I would say, probably get about 600-700 in the stands, which includes kind of the chairbacks. So I spent 2 hours today out in the jungle, and we'll have assigned seats for people out. This is important. We'll have assigned seats for people out in the jungle, but we're going to allow them to bring like a lawn chair wherever they want to sit in. They just need to take that seat out, because everybody will kind of be in a box where, Dave Richmond brings his family, has tickets. You'll have 4 people, and we'll have it marked where that's kind of your box that you're supposed to stay in. And I get it, guys. You're probably in the back of your mind going, how in the heck are you going to get all these fans? We're just following the orders from the executive order, and I'm just glad that we can have people at our sporting events. So I'm not complaining about anything. We're going to do our best. But I feel like, man, if we can just have a safe atmosphere, I think that number is going to continue to increase as we go through baseball season. So if you didn't get tickets, I wouldn't be down. We're still working through a process of the tickets we have left over, whether a visiting team comes in, doesn't use all of theirs, or, tonight was the deadline at 5:00. And with anybody, we're probably we'll check it tomorrow morning and see who didn't, buy tickets. And some people won't for whatever reason. Some of it is COVID, which I don't blame them. But we have a lot of fans that have been vaccinated. I've heard from a lot of donors. So we'll have a better idea tomorrow. But I don't know if you all know this, but like last night, yesterday, we were able to send out an additional email where we'd be able to get, I think we were able to get an additional 75 to 100 in. Hoping we can do that again, but we have to see how the renewals go tomorrow morning.
Okay, I had actually not seen that email, but I had heard an interview with John, and he was talking about how instead of 150 out in the jungle, that, like you're saying, it may be 225, 250, whatever.
Yeah, we got to see. I'll be honest. We're going to put the students in right field, and you all know this, but you have a lot more room in left field. So I went out there today to really, because the students will be in 2-person pods. So I got to make sure they're kind of 6 feet apart. And, right field, you got the trees, different variables I'm dealing with. So I'm going to go back out there tomorrow. And we're just like NC State. I don't know. They played today against Campbell, and they weren't ready to kind of open the gates because we got that order. It takes time to put a manifest together to get this set. Well, there was no way we were going to be ready for tomorrow's game. There's absolutely no way. So Friday is going to be – we'll still be pushing it, but we're hoping to get tickets out to people on Thursday. And we're going to learn some stuff this weekend. We might end up with more room than what we thought. But I just hope fans understand and cooperation because, man, what makes ECU special, it's the fans. That's why I love this place. 2 years ago when I first met you guys, I liked ECU. I love ECU now. Being here 2 years, I love this place. And to tell our fans they can't come is – and then, we're selling football season tickets, so it's almost like counterproductive. But, we're dealing with a pandemic. We're still in it. Dave sounds like he's been lucky enough to get the vaccination shots. He must have, paid somebody under the table. You got one too, Bo?
Yeah.
I work in healthcare.
One of the advantages of being an educator.
See, I missed out. I haven't got it. Now, somebody called me today and told me I can't tell the secret location, but told me I might be able to go get it. So, but no, I'm looking forward to having some fans back. And then I do want to say for other venues like volleyball and the other, like volleyball, we'll have a capacity of 1,000. So it'll kind of be just general public. And whenever we get over 1,000, doors will close. The other stadiums are a little, soccer and softball, our capacity is really only 300. And you start doing player guest families and visiting team, you're probably only about 150, 200 available. So if you want to go to those games, I think people need to show up. I wouldn't show up right at the start, maybe 15, 20 minutes before, and we can get them in. But that's what's hard too, guys. Like we can't promote. I don't want to sit here and promote, hey, we got this big soccer game on Saturday and you all get all these people to come. We can't get them in. Again, it's very counterproductive to what we're used to doing. So, but we want Pirates to be in our venues, even if there's a small amount of Pirates.
Ryan, let's talk about, you mentioned softball. Very proud of Courtney Oliver. We think a lot of her have been on our show. What about the softball team? And that's what hurts, is that Cliff and Courtney are having, I really believe they're up to something special at the softball field, the baseball field. You got the diamond there. They're going to do, I'm telling you guys, I have a special feeling in my heart about this team, both the baseball and softball programs this year. And the fact that I think that once we get towards the end of the season and postseason, I think that's where we're going to see a decent sized crowd. I really think, I'm being optimistic right now. Maybe things will change, but thank God we don't have Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's. No big gatherings that we have to worry about right now.
Yeah, no, you're right, man. Obviously what Cliff's doing, our baseball team, and I don't want anybody to take it for granted. I saw something posted the other day that said, "Don't take it for granted." I don't. Like, I get to see these baseball players a lot in our facilities, and they're gentlemen, first of all. But I am really happy for Courtney Oliver. I went out there to the games this weekend. We actually had some really good crowds. Ohio brought some people, and then our student athletes. That's important, man, too. For these student athletes, you have to realize they're not getting to go home right now. I mean, with COVID, a lot of them have been here the whole time. So for them to have their family here, but I'm going to tell you one thing. I sat in the stands, and we got some hitters. That ball was popping. It's exciting to watch. And I'm excited for Courtney. I know that she feels like she's got a good team this year. But I'm excited for her. Now, I will tell you, I kind of made an idiot of myself. I'm a big volleyball. I like going to volleyball. Just always have been. And I know this might hurt Dave, because I know don't you like North Carolina, Dave?
No, I did not like North Carolina.
Oh, Duke. Sorry. But,
I'm a big Tar Heel fan.
Yeah, we put Tar Heels this weekend in volleyball.
I love that. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
First win since 1978. And we got to I don't know if y'all have had Adler on yet.
We want to.
Yeah, he is impressive, man. He was at Stephen F. Austin, did a great job. If y'all don't know, Stephen F. Austin's a really good volleyball program. And Adler's doing a really good job. It's been fun watching these ladies. They're kind of coming together as a team. And, man, that was a big win. I kind of caught myself still a little juiced up when I left Minji's on Sunday. I was like, Ryan, we're still early in the season, but I get fired up anytime we get a win.
How about I know from the inside that you had a big, and I want to give you a shout out on this one. You played a big role in, maybe I shouldn't mention it, but you played a big role in hiring Kim McNeil. And I tell you what, I'm a big fan of Kim McNeil personally and professionally. She's building the program. I hate that we have COVID, another person. And of course, we'll talk about Joe, but really happy the job she's doing.
Yeah, I love Kim. I think where Kim reminds me a little bit, I think as Coach Houston is, they're learning. They're still learning. But I think Kim she is someone, first of all, she's an unbelievable mother. I will tell you this. She's got 2 twins that are unbelievable kids. Her and her husband, Corey, do a great job. But, she's building a program, and it's hard during COVID to build that. But what I like about right now is not a great showing, but the thing that I really like I love how they play. They play fast. It's exciting. But, let her keep recruiting a little bit. But I talked to Kim probably more than any other coach, other than probably Coach Houston. But I talked to Kim quite a bit just about life. I mean, she's very she'll listen, and we have some good conversations. Yeah, and Coach Dooley, I mean, it's just been tough, men's basketball. I haven't even went back, but I think we probably had 4 pauses. And those are tough, guys. Like, it's not only tough physically, it's tough mentally. These are young men, man. These are, 17, 18, 19-year-olds, and you're basically telling them, hey, you've got to go to this hotel, or you've got to go here, and you can't leave for 5 days, or you're COVID positive, we'll bring food to you. It's not easy, man. It really isn't. It's not easy at all. And I just admire what all of our student athletes have went through. I don't know how many times you all been COVID tested, but I mean, these basketball players, they're getting like 4 days a week Once that thing gets up your nose and then they spin it, they ain't a good feeling. I will tell you. So I'm looking forward to them getting back on the court. I think we've got to probably relax a little bit on the expectations when you haven't played for a month. So really, I'm just excited to see our guys run up down the court and competing. But we did have a pretty big win this season against Houston, so
Yes,
that's
sir.
pretty special.
Before we shift over and talk some football, because you brought up Coach Houston, and we certainly wanted to talk season tickets. They're off to an excellent start, and then also the spring game, which is going to be coming up before we know it. But
Yeah.
not to dwell on the baseball situation, but just I know here in the last few years we've been around 1,800, 1,900 season tickets, pushing 2,000. So I know I'm putting you on the
More
spot.
like 20. I would say probably more like 22, 23.
Okay, great. Yeah, I knew it was in that 2,000 ballpark. I wasn't sure the exact total, but and I know I'm putting you on the spot with this question, but in a normal year, how many tickets are someone able to purchase, and how is that now? And then also, how many season ticket buyers do we have? Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I
All right.
think probably, first going back to season ticket buyers, I'd have to look that up. You're probably talking 950, maybe something around that lines. But, and I think as we went through this process, we've looked at everything. I mean, I have talked to – this goes back to football. The same process we did for football when you go off priority. And, and Pirate Club, the support of the Pirate Club is important. But it's just as important if Bubba gives us $200. That's important. Like, I don't take that lightly. That is very important. But I don't know, when you do a process like this, it's never going to be perfect. I know a lot of things I've heard have been, they're giving them tickets to fans that won't be there. I don't know if that's the case. I think we've talked to a lot of people to say, hey, if you're not coming, let us know. And they have. We've talked to them this week. But you also got some people that, have given large chunks of money that have played a large role in athletics. And it goes back to what I told you. You don't ever want to have to go through this. Like we're talking in the Pirate Club as not to switch subjects, but we're going to kind of really rebrand the Pirate Club in a way that, we've got to change the narrative a little bit, because the everyday fan is important here. And, I don't care how much you give the Pirate Club, $100, $200, man, you're important. And we've got to get to that because we have a next generation of fans that we've got to reach. And that's something I'm excited about in the Pirate Club just because I think we can do that. This pandemic has kind of set us back. But really kind of going back to baseball, I mean, I'd have to find out. But in terms of what we did for this one, we probably had 800 and I think we probably distributed about 850 tickets. And I'd have to find out how many donors we went through. But I would tell you we're at probably rank 1205. I will tell you that, probably in ranking. So it wasn't that low until yesterday, and we were able to add more tickets. So hopefully that will continue to go up. But I mean, I'll ask you guys, what would you have done? Like, how would you distribute it? And I'd be anxious, because I think there's a lot of different ways to do it. But I would say across the country, it's a lot. It's based on priority. So I don't know. What do you think, Bubba?
Like you're saying, somebody's going to be mad no matter what, whether it's those season ticket holders of years and years for baseball, or like you're saying, if X individual is giving a very large amount of money and doesn't have the opportunity to purchase those tickets, then obviously they're not going to be very happy either.
Yeah, it's hard, man. I mean, there's no winning in this. I'm not trying to win because I don't ever want to have to go through this again.
But what you brought up as far as in really encouraging, and this is something I've talked about with multiple Pirate fans, as far as encouraging those donors who do not want the tickets, or maybe not all of the tickets they're able to purchase, getting them into the hands of Pirates or giving them back to where other Pirates can purchase through you guys. That certainly needs to be encouraged.
And I know some people that have given their tickets that have basically said, hey, I'm giving, just so you all know, I'm buying them, giving to these, diehard fans. Now I'm going to come for a couple series, and I kind of told them that. But like I said, I think we got to be patient because we're looking at March 2nd right now. Man, a lot can change. I think that new order goes till is it March 28th or March 30th? So baseball, I think we're doing, after tomorrow, I think we have 25 games. My dream is, don't tell Cliff because he, you have to ignore the noise. But my goal is, man, wouldn't it be great to have a Pat Clark player for an NCAA regional? That'd be pretty cool. And who knows? Because that's how we're preparing for football right now. I mean, we're not having any. We're preparing to have I thought it was funny. Alabama put out yesterday. They plan on having a full, 100,000. I said, well, we plan on having a full 50,000.
Absolutely.
So, and I do, I know we'll talk football in a second, but I am really excited about football season tickets. We had some people that have rolled over their accounts this year. Sales have been pretty good. They got to be better, to be quite honest with you. We have got to get that number to probably that 14 to 15,000 range this year. We just have to be able to compete with other schools and the revenue that brings in. And I do think, you can get a ticket for $99. That's a pretty good deal because when we go to single game tickets, that South Carolina game, if you're waiting for single, it's probably going to be a $60 to $65 ticket. So why not buy the season ticket and get in? I think it's for, probably 100 and some. You can sit lower level. Are you kidding me? South Carolina coming in here. And then, I love our conference games. I don't know if you all see this, but I still think our fans are getting around some of those conference rivals. But, you got Cincinnati coming here, at the end of the year? I know John, he said this. John would like to play that game on Friday after Thanksgiving. Could be on Saturday, but, we've asked him. Our preference would be Friday. And then we'll know about the South Florida and Temple games, I think hopefully in the next week or so, to be quite honest with you. I thought we'd already know by now. One of them will be on a Thursday, one of them on a Saturday. But season ticket, it's been hard. It's funny you mentioned that, Bubba, about football season tickets. We got two things going on at one time right now, and we've been trying to publicize hard with football season tickets. I wasn't planning that we were going to spend the whole week getting baseball situated, but that's just the way it is in a pandemic. I could get an email any minute. Nothing would surprise me in 2020 or 21. It's been a unbelievable 12 months.
As of Monday afternoon, I guess Monday evening, 4,810. What was the season ticket number?
I think today we probably got to 5,000.
Okay. Out of that number, you mentioned the rollovers. How many would you say were rollovers from 2020?
I'd probably have to look, but I would say in the probably low 4,000, probably 41, 4,200. So, and what happens with our fan base, which it doesn't bother me, but we do a lot of people mail in. They'll mail in their orders. But last year, before the pandemic, we were before we really had to shut it down, we were at about 10 or 11,000, something along that lines. I went back and looked. We were trending right. To get to 15, that'd be a tall task, but we've got to get there because I've told you guys this before. It is so hard to sell single game tickets. Like, it's just hard, and your attendance just goes it fluctuates because, when you only sell, let's say you sell 12,000 season tickets, well, you're only going to sell maybe 6,000 or 7,000 single game. So you're looking at attendance of, 28,000, 29,000. So sometimes I just, any way people can help to buy a $99 ticket. Now our suites are sold out. Our loge boxes are sold out. We're selling a lot of premium seats, but we've got to get people in the stands, and that's on us. I don't put that on anybody else. That's on us. We got to reach people. We've got to communicate with people, and this has just set a lot of things back, man. I'm sure you all have had setbacks with dealing with all this. So, but we're going to get after it. I can promise you that. We got people in the building.
Yeah, we actually bought a pair of tickets ourselves to give away, and we had to wait on that, but we'll give our pair away on this show. We're going to do that,
Oh,
and maybe we can do some more, a couple
yeah.
more do that. But as far as I have a crazy idea, we have Kyle from LaGrange Barber who's going to do some up downs for being late.
I am extremely late. That's
Let me ask you
beyond the
this.
point of up down.
Why-
I got to run laps.
When do y'all put this out?
It's live right now.
All right, well, let's do this. How about we do, and you all just do it however you want, 4 tickets to tomorrow's baseball game against Old Dominion, because we're still kind of doing a pass list on that right now because we're trying to prepare. But I can find a way to get 4 people in if you want to give those out for the game tomorrow.
All right, that sounds good.
Bubba can shoot me a text with the name to leave, and we'll call.
All right, we'll make that happen. Thank you very much, Ryan. That's awesome stuff. And I had a crazy idea for you, and I'm doing
Okay.
all because I believe in the vaccine and I believe in my Pirates, and I want the Dowdy Ficklin to be rowdy, and we're trying to get as many people as we can to the spring game. Well, I don't know how many people we can get to the spring game.
30%?
Okay. Is there any way that we can? I sound like a nerd, a vaccination nerd. Is there any way we can do a vaccination clinic and the spring game at the same time to vaccinate our Pirates?
Dave, you work in the health industry, man. You can help us on that. I think it'd be a great idea. We were just talking about I was just asking Coach Houston. I mean, he said, how many people can we have at the spring game? I said, 30%. I said, so the thing we won't do this year, we won't do the pig out around it just with all the COVID. That's too many. But we'd like to get people to our spring game, get people in the venue, see our team. And that's important, man. There's a lot of people who haven't been in Dowdy Ficklin over a year. And one thing is, I don't want people to forget about us.
Ryan, with 30% capacity starting for the baseball games this weekend and all, and I apologize if I'm repeating something that's already been asked. How are concessions going to be handled? Are people just going to be expected to social distance, stand 6 feet apart? I mean, are all the concession stands going to be open? And bathrooms, how is that going to be handled?
Yeah, it's going to be like a normal baseball. I mean, they'll have some protocols as you go up to the concessions, where you're not right up against somebody. But no, we're opening the concessions. We'll have the concessions open in the Williams Jungle, bathrooms. It'll be like a normal baseball season. It's just going to be less people. To be quite honest with you, Kyle.
Okay.
We'll have a waitress to bring your concessions to you, Kyle.
Yeah, whatever you need, Kyle.
Well, good deal. I appreciate that, Dave. That's what I've been waiting for a while. I want my own personal waitress at all sporting events.
We need to try to get that.
Called my wife.
We need to get that in Minji's. That's I tell you, we were out there yesterday. I don't even want to mention on air because people go crazy, but we were dreaming about some really cool things to do with baseball in the future. Just we got to see a lot of passionate fans, man, and it's really cool. And that's what's been painful to kind of, I don't want to say upset, but probably frustrate some. So we just got to get through this, and we got to be safe and healthy, and we just got to get through it. And I'm hoping for hosted NCAA regional, Pat Clark player, see where it goes.
Ryan, again, if anything's been, if I'm repeating stuff that's already been asked, I apologize. But with football tickets going on sale Monday, a couple questions on that. Do you know how many people rolled over their season tickets money from last year to this year?
Yeah, I told them. I think it was around 4,200. I'd say today we're probably at around 5,000, probably 4,200, 4,300. What was interesting, you asked that, Kyle. Bubba asked that earlier, but the amount of people that just donated the money was incredible. It wasn't a rollover. It was, I'm going to donate the money to the Pirate Club. And I'll tell you guys, we did that We Believe. I mean, we raised – it's killing me because we haven't reached $1 million, but it's kind of over now. We're at about 987,000, and that was kind of a 6-week deal.
Right.
And that's big. That shows this community, this region, this state, and the surrounding area of the people that care about ECU. I don't take that lightly. $987,000 in a 6-week span. I will never take that lightly.
Yeah, my wife and I took part in We Believe, and we rolled over. So I'm assuming with 40 some hundred rollovers, and we sold about 10,000 season tickets last year. So the majority of the rest of the people donated. Did very few people get refunds?
Yeah, I would say very few got refunds. Yeah, I don't have the percentage, but if you remember, Kyle, the 10,000 was really when we kind of. I need to go back and look. Somebody asked me that today, but we kind of put everything to a halt.
Yep.
Because of the pandemic, I was really happy when we had that 10,000. You know, I was telling them, you know, I'd love to get to 15,000. I think, you know, we can get there, but it's going to take all Fire Nation kind of coming together and buying tickets because it is just so hard to sell a lot of single game tickets. It's just difficult. But once you get people in there, I mean, man, I don't know where else you want to be on a Saturday or a Thursday. Hell, I'd be there on Tuesday. I love it.
It's funny you say 15,000. That makes me. There was something I was thinking of the other day, and I'm going to try to ask this question where it makes sense. We hope to be at 100% capacity by the fall, but we're clearly going to be above 30% capacity. So let's just pretend we're at 50% capacity. If we sell 15,000 season tickets,
everybody would get in.
Everybody. So the other 10. So that would be 25,000. So 15,000 season tickets, and then the other 10,000 would be divided amongst students and everything else. Okay.
Yeah, everybody. But I think, first of all, I don't like you thinking negative that we wouldn't. I want 100%. I'm a very positive person, Kyle. Our staff will tell you that. But the other thing on that is, when you say 50%, I don't know how. Let's say, Dowdy Fickman, we're going to say 50,000.
Yep.
Say 50%, 25,000. It would be hard to put 25,000 in and social distance by the regulations. It just would be. That's why sometimes the percentages, you know, like our 30% right now, it's hard for baseball to get 30% of people, you know, in the stadium. So with the social distancing guidelines, so I'm hoping there's not restrictions in that area. But yeah, I would love to see, you know, I know John mentioned this the other day because we kind of talked about it, but I think it was 10 years ago is when they sold the most season tickets in the history of Pirate football. I believe it was 22,830. Could be off a number or two. But obviously you guys were around here. I don't know what particular thing that kind of spearheaded that, but it's kind of went down since then. I mean, just be honest, it went down.
Yeah, we had the 2011 home schedule. I believe that was UNC at home. And did we have UNC and Virginia Tech at home that year, guys?
Yeah.
Look at it again.
I thought Bubba would know off the top of his head.
Well,
here, I'll tell you.
What season was the record?
2011.
Yeah, 2011, Kyle. 2011, the Tar Heels were in Greenville. And Virginia Tech was I'm trying to remember if we played them that year or not. But 2011, we definitely had the Tar Heels at home because that was the night game and tremendous atmosphere.
Yeah, and I think, you know, when people say we used to have 22,000 season ticket holders, I would say we've had it for 2 years. We had 22,193 in 2010. So I think you got to keep in perspective. That's why I'm not saying we need to go out and get 22,000. That'd be great, but it's really only happened in 2 years in the history. So, but, you know, if you go back, I mean, in 2017, again, you all are better with what was going on, but in 2017, we sold 16,000 season tickets. That number in 2018 jumped down to 12,000. That is a huge, you know, I will tell you just off revenue, that's about $1 million hit. So it kind of shows you, but like our single game revenue has been, it's pretty consistent. You know, it's always been around that 1.2, 1.3 million. But I think this year with South Carolina, I mean, obviously, there's going to be a lot of people in South Carolina want to come to the game. So we need people to get the tickets. And let's go. I'm ready right now.
Yeah, with the excitement around that program always, but especially with Shane Beamer taking over, the Gamecocks are going to travel and their 4,000 or whatever they're going to be getting. I would be very surprised if they didn't sell those and then try to get more.
Yeah, and then next week we will be sending out stuff probably towards the end of next week from Appalachian State. You know, it's their home game, but we do have a group of tickets we can sell. And I mean, everybody that wants a ticket should be able to get one. I'd love to have a nice little crowd up in Charlotte for that game. You know, people are mad because it got moved to Thursday. I'm not. I think it's great. We're going to be we're going to have that nice, shiny field. We're probably going to be on national television, one of the first games of the year. So I'm fired up that we're getting to play on Thursday night and then get, you know, I think we have South Carolina right after that, right? Is that right? Yeah. South Carolina. Get a little weekend to prepare for South Carolina. But our football team is, heck, man, I see Holton Ahlers every day I leave work at 5:30 or 6. Holton Ahlers out on the field with, you know, his guys, his receivers, you know, Mason Garcia. These guys care. It means something for them to bring East Carolina back to prominence. I mean, it really, and you all know Holton's story, but I think that goes for everybody. I mean, they're like, hey, we want to get back to where it was. And I know Coach Houston feels the same way.
Yeah,
Well, there's that was the first hire you and John Gilbert had, and the very fact that the guy's a winner wherever he's gone, and the fact that those programs, including the high school on up, they're still winning today because of the way he built the program.
Mm-hmm.
And until I hear anything different, I'm a huge fan of Mike Houston personally and professionally for what he's done to all those programs. And now East Carolina, you can start to see, you know, I think a couple years ago we were spelling hope, but I really believe that he can take us to levels we've never seen before. It sounds like a cliche, but a New Year's Six Bowl is not out of the question in the next couple of years.
Well, he's got a good plan. It means a lot to him. He loves East Carolina. He's got a good group of kids. It takes time, man, to build a program. I know no one wants to hear that. Heck, I tell him that sometimes. I don't even want to hear that. But he's building it the right way. He's got good people around him. And, you know, I saw C.J. Johnson yesterday. It's like these guys keep getting bigger, stronger, faster. They're going to be a problem. I'm going to tell you that. They're going to be a problem in this conference.
Ryan, since you brought up that game in Charlotte against App State, that's something obviously you guys know fairly large percentage of our fan base, you know, travels a considerable distance to Greenville on game days. And I'm sure this may be the minority, but I've heard a lot of folks and talk about that game in Charlotte against App State, who's obviously a tremendous program, but making that trip. And I'm like, well, 6 home games a year, me and a lot of other folks, and we're driving 3.5, 4 hours. So what is it to make one trip west? 3.5, 4 hours.
Yeah, and I'll give you all a little. I don't know if it's scoop, but those tickets, App State has kind of controlled the pricing. Now you've got a ticket that club seat, best seat in the house. You're looking at about $135 seat, but you can still be lower level for $50. So there's a wide range of prices how they did it. So you're probably looking between $50 and $135. And then we'll have student tickets for sale as well. But I mean, everybody always talks about App State. They have a great program. So I can't think of a better way to open this, to be quite honest with you.
And how cool would it be, with that potentially being the first, let's say we're at 100%. And, this is the first Pirate game most people will be able to go to in almost 2 years at that point. Same with Appalachian State fans. How cool would it be to set the collegiate single game attendance record for an in-state football game in North Carolina, and it won't be involving an ACC school if East Carolina and Appalachian State could do that in Charlotte?
Yeah. And I think, I get it. It's a Thursday night, Charlotte. But I think, hopefully hotels will be reasonable. But then we'd love to have those same fans kind of drive up to a place called Dowdy Finkland the next Saturday and we take on the Gamecocks. I can tell you that because that I have a feeling is that's going to be special for a lot of the reasons Kyle just mentioned. I don't know if you saw a video that Coach Houston did, but it really hit home with me of what we missed last year. I mean, I can remember, guys, the Central Florida game last year where we only had family. I was probably in the 30th row, just kind of monitoring everything. I could hear, Holton. I could hear Central Florida's quarterback calling out the plays. I don't want to hear that. Like, it's too quiet. I remember leaving that game thinking, man, did I even just watch a college football game? Like, it didn't even feel normal. I don't want that anymore. We want, purple and gold, the cannon, and we'll get it back because I think what Kyle said is right. People are going to be fired up to get back in stadiums. And we got to do our job to make sure that we're having a safe and healthy atmosphere, which if that means getting Kyle a waitress, we will.
Hey, and Ryan, UCF's offensive line said it was too quiet as well. They false started like 6 times in a row. I've never seen that.
Never seen that before. I agree, Bubba. I remember sitting there going, man, and they were doing it.
And I've been to several. I mean, I've been to Ohio State, Michigan games where there's 90 to 100,000 people, so on and so forth. And I've never seen somebody false start 3 times. I don't know. I mean, consecutively.
Yeah, we saw a lot of things last year I've never seen before. I won't mention certain games, but I saw a lot of things. I just want to harp on. The way we ended the season. I thought there was a couple wins during the year that, we won't talk about that we probably won anyway. But
yes, sir.
I do feel like ending the season the way we did, I mean, people, you all understand. I mean, SMU is a good.
Yeah. No, we were a good football team last year. I mean, you won't say it, but I will. We beat Tulsa, and the game was just stolen from us. Well, if you put that game in the win column, that means we won 4 out of 9. So if you'd have played one more game to get to 10 games, we'd have been a 500 ball team. So no, I think, and this is just now we're just talking ball. No, we're real close. We're real close to being good. I don't think some of our fans realize how close we are. And I think if we can get a piece or two from the grad transfer ranks and the portal, particularly after the FCS season is over, some of those seniors that are going to have an extra year of eligibility looking to play somewhere, maybe at the FBS level, I think we have a chance to. Ryan, something you haven't experienced is Greenville when East Carolina football is winning, and there ain't nothing like it. It's got an SEC vibe. When we're winning, this town is nuts.
Well, I can't wait. I mean, this town's unbelievable, man. John and I we try to eat, we go out to lunch, we try to eat local businesses, and we were in Chico's today, and man, you just, you hear people talking about Pirate football, and that's what they want to talk about. You go over to, the bookstore and different places. So I'm excited. Like I talked to somebody today, and they said, hey, do you think we're going to be able to do that? What do they call the things that are down in the Uptown on Friday? Free Boot Friday.
Free boot.
I said, well, hell, I hope we can. I mean, that's the plan. I said, we just got to see what happens with COVID. So, I mean, people are excited, man. I just want to try to get safe, get through here the next 3 or 4 months, and be ready to roll.
Does it feel like, that with fans coming back for baseball, even though unlimited amounts, having you here on the podcast, and we got John later in the week. Does it feel like you guys are almost like you're reopening, kind of like a store that's reopening after it's been closed because of fire damage?
Yeah, it's kind of what I call it welcoming back. We're welcoming our fans back. But I think the other thing that I've been thinking a lot about is changing the narrative. I understand people like to talk about finances and East Carolina, whatever. Hey, that's great to talk about, but we've got to change the narrative. East Carolina can win. we can win in the AAC. We can compete in every sport we're playing. There's nothing holding us back. So we've got to have competitive excellence, and that's important. That's important for our fans. Pirates like to win. I know that. I've been here 2 years. I've got that feeling. So we got to welcome people back, but we got to make sure we're doing our part too. And that's something John talks about a lot. But man, it's almost like you want to give everybody a hug as they walk in the stadium. Now with COVID, we probably won't be able to do that. We have to give them a little elbow bump. But I'm looking forward to having everybody back.
Hey, Ryan, one thing I was going to tell you, you want to talk about headaches now. The biggest headache that I hope you do have is as far as the toughest tick in town is going to be when we go to a bowl game. And I think it's going to be coming up into the season. I really feel confident with Coach Houston.
Well, I hope so. I just hope we have hope we stay healthy. We're competitive, and I think that's what I've seen go on. And we got talent. This is a hard conference, man. I mean, this is a tough conference to play in football. Our schedule, there's no homecoming games. I think our homecoming game this year against Tulane, well, Tulane's a good football team. So, no, I'm looking forward to it. Now, do you guys just stay up all night and talk sports? I need to join you more often. Is that kind of what you all do?
If we leave it up to Dave, Ryan, we'd be on the air for 24 hours.
Yeah, Ryan, you've heard of 24 hours of basketball?
That's right, 24 hours of Pirates. Well, man,
Yeah.
John on.
Yeah, no doubt. We love to have you on, and hopefully to have you back on soon. Appreciate everything that you've done for Pirate Nation.
Anything you guys need, and I'll get to work on a waiver for Kyle, and I'll never say that Dave likes North Carolina again.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, thanks, guys. I appreciate you.
Have a good night, man.
All right, thanks, Ryan.
Bye-bye. That was a lot of fun. Appreciate Ryan very much. We had a lot of questions, and yeah, we normally would cut it off sooner, but certainly wanted to. There's a lot of things we want to talk about. A lot of question marks with everything going on. So definitely going to be a lot of fun this week. Lots of stuff going on with the Pirates, with basketball. We have baseball tomorrow. Speaking of which, we'll give those tickets away, right, Bubba?
Absolutely. Sorry, I was unmuting myself there. But, yeah, those 4 tickets, East Carolina hosting Old Dominion at Clark LeClair Stadium. Be on the lookout for that via social media on Facebook, as well as Instagram and Twitter.
Is that for Wednesday's game?
Yeah,
It is.
That's tomorrow. We're going to have to do that in a hurry.
Yeah, well, he told us with breaking news for people watching live.
What's the contest? How are we giving them away?
Well, that's what we're talking in the texting and other things. We'll talk about it. So
let's just talk about it live. Let's ask the viewers how would you like to give them away?
The first person that comment. No.
Johnny Gardner, congratulations.
A super fan of the show. That's really cool. Also, guys, we have the Keith LeClair Classic. We're going to have a big, certainly with Thursday's show, we'll have Algie LeClair coming on. That's going to be fantastic. Mountaineers, we'll have Kermit Smith, obviously head coach of the Mountaineers. Friday through Sunday, as you see on the screen, if you're listening, it's Friday through Sunday, March 5th or 7th. The Friday's game is 4 p.m., Saturday's game is 2 p.m., and Sunday's game is 1 p.m. at Clark LeClair Stadium. It's on ESPN Plus, and of course, you can have the TuneIn Radio app. It's going to be exciting. I know that the Mountaineers have done an excellent job, Kermit Smith and company, with building that program. And speaking of App State and ECU, it's going to be a great contest this weekend.
Yeah, hopefully the Pirates can take care of business and get the sweep. I'm really, App's been building that program there, and the Sun Belt's a tough baseball league, so I'm sure they're improving all the time just to compete in their conference. So we took 2 out of 3 against Georgia Southern. If we can manage to sweep or take 2 out of 3 from App this weekend, we'll be well out ahead in the Sun Belt.
No question. And we have the basketball game coming up. That'll be Thursday night. Of course, we have ECU hosting UCF. And the Pirates, after 20-some days, man, it's been a long time since we've had a basketball game. We have that home 9 o'clock. We're going to have 1,000 tickets. Those are going to be for students, and we're going to have that lower bowl packed. And if you're a student, if you know students, then let them know. Please get all those tickets and let's pack that arena. As far as the lower bowl is concerned, that would be fantastic. As many as we can. That will be awesome on not only Thursday night, but is that a Sunday afternoon game, Bubba, for Cincinnati?
It is. It's unless something has changed. I checked in the last couple of days, and it is a 1 p.m. tip-off. That's the reason the baseball game is on ECUPirates.com, because basketball will be on Plus. But speaking of basketball, some excellent news. Joe Dooley and the staff received their third commitment in the last 2 weeks.
Oh, yes. Cool.
Javon Small out of Arizona. He's a combo guard, but I think primarily plays the point. 6'2", 200 pounds. Also had an offer from Virginia Tech in addition to several others, but that was his most high-profile offer, obviously in the ACC and top 15 to 20 program this year with everything Mike Young is doing there in Blacksburg. But he is the sixth member of the 2021 class. 3 of those guys have signed back in the fall. You had Tay Mosher, Russell Felton, and Alexis Reyes, as you see scrolling across the bottom of the screen right now for our viewers. But then you also, in addition to those 3, you have Marlon Leston out of Canada, 6'9", 200 pounds, extremely athletic. Jaquan Scott, 6'8", 200, a power forward that really has tremendous athleticism that we've been lacking in the post. You kind of you have Jaden Gardner at 6'6", and then you go from 6'6" to 7 feet. We haven't had that guy 6'8" or 6'9" like a Ty Armstrong. So very excited about him. And then like today, just mentioned Javon Small. So 6 guys in that class. It'll be interesting to see who's departing.
No question about it. That's tough questions that'll be coming up as the season ends in the next month or so. Johnny Gardner saying, "Love it, haha." We're responding to the season.
That was the response to the ticket.
No doubt. So we've got a big thing. And Thursday night we have, of course, Pirate basketball overtime. It's at the top of the screen, approximately 11:45 after the game. So we'll have post-game comments of Coach Dooley and company, the players, and we'll do our overtime. We'll have obviously our Keith LeClaire Classic.
Did you say 11:45?
Yeah.
All right.
The game is not over until 11, approximately. And then we have that. So,
Okay.
Yeah, we have the Keith LeClaire Classic preview Thursday night at 7, and then we'll have Sunday night extra innings. We'll have that as we wrap up the Keith LeClaire Classic, and we'll have a special interview with John Gilbert, the director of athletics for East Carolina. Plus, we'll see about maybe Coach O, or we'll have somebody for East Carolina. But we'll do that on Sunday night. A lot of great shows in a short amount of, a long way to go in a short time to get there, right, guys?
Yeah, and Kyle, they can question our sanity, but not our love and passion for East Carolina basketball. How about that?
Okay. All right. That works. So 11:45. We're insane, but we love the Pirates.
No doubt. Hey, by the way, I want to mention our great Bubba got the I can't say it too loud, but a birthday present for Alexander. He got those gloves in the mail today from pgxgloves.com, the personalized gloves. Got him 2 pairs of gloves. Mark Minikazi, thank you, Kaz, very much. He's going to be very excited on the 20th is his birthday. And then I've got to get some other stuff for Mackenzie, some gloves for softball. We've got to do that. But that's going to be exciting for him to see that. pgxgloves.com, they have everything, custom baseball gloves. What else, guys?
Well, they got the custom golf gloves for all our golfers out there as we head towards springtime. Get yourself some custom golf gloves so you'll look fancy like Tiger Woods or Jack Nicklaus or Jack Nicholson or one of those golfers. And so get yourself some custom golf gloves. And don't forget about the swag. You see that cool logo on screen? That'll look really good on a T-shirt. And they got pirate-themed merchandise also. So go check them out at pgxgloves.com. And whatever you purchase, don't forget to use code ECU at checkout and save yourself 25%.
No doubt. I can see Jack Nicklaus saying, "Here's Johnny."
There you go.
Anyway, yes, it is. The Shining. Awesome stuff. By the way, also want to mention Next Level Training Center. My son Alexander is going to be at that big clinic. If you have an 8-year-old or 9-year-old at Next Level Training Center, they've got a huge event. Make sure you call ahead of time to Next Level Training Center because I don't know if there's a space limit or not. It's 252-756-NEXT, nextleveltc.com. You go to the Facebook page. By the way, guys, quickly want to say that Trent Britt today, I saw where they had a whole list of all the people, all the players of the past that are doing very well locally and in the collegiate ranks, including Cam Colmore of South Central that was there at Next Level Training Center. So your son or daughter could be the next big star in softball or baseball. Give them a call, 252-756-NEXT. Next Level Training Center is nextleveltc.com is their website. And we appreciate their sponsorship of Extra Innings all season long. Appreciate it very much. All right, guys, do you have anything before we go?
You know, Ryan is a big golfer. So maybe Ryan needs to go to pgxclubs.com and get himself some customized golf clubs, maybe a couple with 2 big R's on them.
There you go, double R.
Or ARGs. How about that? Yeah.
All right. Yeah, we're going to have a lot of exciting things, guys, coming up. Appreciate, Bubba, your hard work. Kyle, thank you so much. And want to thank Dave Ryan and Ryan Robinson. Appreciate them coming on tonight. It's a little bit extra long edition. We had a lot of questions. And we'll see you guys, I guess, next time, Thursday night, the Keith LeClaire Classic. We'll have that 7 o'clock. Audrey LeClaire and Kermit Smith. We'll have them. Make sure you join us. Until next time, you've been watching, listen to the Sports Objective. Good night, everybody. Go Pirates.
Put your crossbones up if you're a pirate. Let the other team know we got them surrounded. Put your crossbones up and lean side to side. Set the tone with your pirate pride. Put your crossbones up for your